Welcome to the Fluent Storybook, where stories transform lives and knowledge becomes power. Today I'm going to share with you the single habit that separates those who struggle from those who thrive, those who follow from those who lead, and those who survive from those who truly live. This isn't just another motivational video. This is your roadmap to becoming the person you were meant to be. Picture this. Two college graduates from Ohio State University walk across that stage on the same day in 2019. Sarah and Mike, both with identical degrees in marketing, both with similar GPAs, both stepping into the same uncertain job market. Today, 5 years later, Sarah is a digital marketing consultant making 6 figures, working from her dream home in Austin, Texas. Mike is still working the same entry-level job he started after graduation, living paycheck to paycheck, wondering why life feels so unfair. What made the difference? It wasn't luck. It wasn't connections. It wasn't even talent. The difference was one simple habit that Sarah developed while Mike ignored: daily self-education. Every single day for 5 years, Sarah dedicated 1 hour to learning something new. Mike? He spent that same hour scrolling through TikTok, watching Netflix, or complaining about his situation. This is the harsh reality we need to face. In America today, your formal education ends, but your real education, the education that determines your future, that's entirely up to you. And if you're not educating yourself daily, you're not just standing still. In a rapidly changing world, you're actually moving backward. The American dream isn't dead, but it has evolved. It no longer belongs to those who simply work hard. It belongs to those who learn hard, adapt fast, and never stop growing. The question is, are you ready to join them? Chapter 1. The American Education Crisis. Nobody talks about. Let me tell you a story that will probably sound familiar. In 2008, when the financial crisis hit America, millions of people lost their jobs overnight. Among them was Robert, a 45-year-old manufacturing worker from Detroit who had worked the same job for 20 years. He was skilled, hardworking, and loyal. But when the plant closed down, all of that didn't matter. Robert spent 2 years applying for similar jobs that no longer existed. He watched younger, less experienced workers get hired for positions he felt qualified for. He became bitter, angry at the system, at technology, at globalization. But Robert made one crucial mistake. He never asked himself the most important question. What do I need to learn to stay relevant? Compare that to Maria, who worked at the same plant. When she saw the writing on the wall in 2007, she started spending her lunch breaks watching YouTube videos about digital marketing. She enrolled in free online courses offered by Google and Facebook. She learned social media management, basic web design, and email marketing. When the plant closed, Maria didn't just find a job. She started her own digital marketing agency. Today, she employs 12 people and has clients across the Midwest. This story repeats itself thousands of times across America every year. The difference isn't in the circumstances, it's in the response. One person chose to blame. The other chose to learn. Here's the brutal truth about American education that nobody wants to admit. Our traditional education system prepares you for a world that no longer exists. We're taught to memorize, regurgitate, and follow instructions. But the modern economy rewards creativity, adaptability, and continuous learning. We graduate thinking our education is complete, when in reality, it's just beginning. The most successful Americans today from Elon Musk to Oprah Winfrey, from Warren Buffett to Bill Gates, all share one common trait. They are voracious lifelong learners. Buffett reads 500 pages a day. Gates reads 50 books a year. They didn't stop learning when they got rich. They got rich because they never stopped learning. But here's what's even more powerful. You don't need to be a billionaire to benefit from daily education. Let me tell you about James, a barista from Portland, Oregon. 3 years ago, he was making minimum wage, living with 3 roommates, drowning in student debt. But James made a decision. Every morning before his shift, he would spend 1 hour learning about personal finance and investing. He started with simple YouTube videos, then moved to books like The Intelligent Investor and Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He learned about compound interest, index funds, and budgeting. Within 6 months, he had paid off his credit card debt. Within a year, he had an emergency fund. Within 2 years, he was investing regularly. Today, James still works as a barista because he loves it. But he's building wealth and financial freedom one day at a time. The American dream isn't about getting lucky or being born into the right family. It's about taking responsibility for your own education and growth. Because in America, the greatest equalizer isn't government programs or handouts. It's knowledge. And knowledge is free for those willing to seek it. Chapter 2. The 4 Pillars of Daily Education. Now that you understand why daily education is crucial, let's talk about what to learn. I've studied hundreds of success stories across America, from Silicon Valley entrepreneurs to Main Street business owners, and I've discovered that successful people focus their daily learning on 4 core areas. Think of these as the 4 pillars that support a life of freedom, fulfillment, and financial security. Pillar 1, Financial Literacy, the foundation of freedom. Let's start with a shocking statistic. According to the Federal Reserve, the average American has less than $1,000 in their savings account. Nearly 40% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency expense. But here's what's even more shocking. This isn't because Americans don't make enough money. It's because we were never taught how money actually works. Think about this. You can graduate from the best universities in America without ever taking a single class on personal finance, investing, or building wealth. We learn calculus, which most of us will never use, but we don't learn compound interest, which affects every financial decision we make. We study ancient civilizations, but not modern tax strategies. We memorize poetry, but not the basics of budgeting. This financial illiteracy is destroying American dreams. Consider Jennifer, a teacher from suburban Atlanta. She makes $55,000 a year. Not wealthy, but certainly enough to live comfortably. Yet at age 35, she has no retirement savings, $8,000 in credit card debt, and lives in constant financial stress. Why? Not because she's irresponsible, but because she never learned the fundamental principles of money management. Now contrast that with David, a mechanic from rural Kentucky who makes $45,000 a year. David spends 30 minutes every morning reading about personal finance. He learned about the power of starting early with retirement savings, the importance of living below his means, and how to invest in low-cost index funds. At 35, David has over $150,000 in retirement accounts and is on track to become a millionaire by age 50. Same country, similar incomes, completely different financial futures. The difference? Daily financial education. Here's what you need to learn. Start with the basics: budgeting, emergency funds, and debt elimination. Understand the difference between good debt and bad debt. Learn about compound interest. Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. Study investing principles, particularly low-cost index fund investing, which has created more millionaires than any other investment strategy. Learn about tax optimization, insurance, and estate planning. The beautiful thing about financial education is that it compounds just like money itself. Every day you learn something new about money is a day that pays dividends for the rest of your life. And in America, with our free market economy and abundant opportunities, financial literacy isn't just helpful, it's essential for survival. Pillar 2. Skills development, your personal economy. The second pillar is developing skills that make you valuable in the modern economy. The old American model was simple. Get a good education, find a good job, work for 30 years, retire with a pension. That model is extinct. The new model is continuously develop valuable skills, create multiple income streams, and take ownership of your economic future. Let me tell you about Rachel, a recent graduate from the University of Michigan. She majored in English literature and graduated into a job market that didn't seem to value her degree. Instead of complaining or going back to school for another expensive degree, Rachel decided to educate herself daily in digital skills. She spent 1 hour every morning learning graphic design using free tutorials on YouTube and practicing with free software like Canva and GIMP. Within 6 months, Rachel was freelancing on weekends, creating social media graphics for local businesses. Within a year, she had launched her own design agency. Today, 3 years later, she employs 5 people and makes more money than most of her classmates who went to law school or got MBAs. The difference? She identified what skills the market needed and educated herself daily to develop those skills. The American economy is rapidly evolving. Artificial intelligence and automation are eliminating many traditional jobs, but they're also creating entirely new categories of work. The key is to stay ahead of the curve by continuously developing skills that are in high demand. Here are the skills that are creating millionaires in modern America. Digital marketing. Every business needs an online presence, and most don't know how to create one effectively. Content creation. The creator economy is exploding, with ordinary people building million-dollar brands through YouTube, podcasts, and social media. Sales. Nothing happens until somebody sells something, and great salespeople will always be in demand. Programming and web development. We're living in a digital world, and those who can build digital solutions will always have opportunities. But here's the key. You don't need to quit your job to start learning these skills. Sarah, a nurse from Phoenix, Arizona, started learning social media marketing for 30 minutes every evening after her shifts. Within 8 months, she was managing social media accounts for 3 local healthcare practices, earning an extra $2,000 per month. She kept her nursing job for the security and benefits, but she now has a valuable skill set that gives her options and additional income. The most successful Americans today don't rely on a single skill or a single source of income. They're constantly expanding their skill set, creating what I call a personal economy, multiple ways to create value and generate income. And the best part? In the age of the internet, you can learn virtually any skill for free or at very low cost. Pillar 3. Mindset and psychology. The inner game. Thy. Third pillar might be the most important of all. Understanding your own mind and developing the mental strength to persevere through challenges. America is the land of opportunity, but it's also the land of intense competition and constant change. Success here requires not just knowledge and skills, but mental toughness and emotional intelligence. Let me share the story of Marcus, a veteran from San Diego who struggled with depression and PTSD after returning from deployment. He felt lost, angry, and disconnected from civilian life. Traditional therapy helped, but what really transformed his life was daily education in psychology, mindset, and personal development. He started reading books like Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl and The Seven, Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Marcus learned about neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. He discovered meditation and mindfulness practices. He studied cognitive behavioral therapy techniques. Most importantly, he learned that his thoughts and reactions were something he could control and improve through daily practice. Today, Marcus runs a successful landscaping business and coaches other veterans on overcoming mental health challenges. He credits his transformation not to motivation or inspiration, but to daily education about how the mind works and how to develop mental strength. This is crucial in America because our culture often promotes quick fixes and instant gratification. We're bombarded with messages that success should be easy and fast. But the reality is that anything worthwhile requires persistence, resilience, and the ability to delay gratification. These are mental skills that must be developed through study and practice. Here's what you need to learn. Understand how your brain works. Study neuroscience basics and neuroplasticity. Learn about cognitive biases and how they affect your decisions. Study successful people not for their tactics, but for their mindset and thought patterns. Practice emotional regulation techniques like meditation, journaling, and breathing exercises. Learn about goal setting, habit formation, and the psychology of motivation. Consider Lisa, a single mother from Chicago who was working 2 minimum wage jobs to support her 3 children. She felt overwhelmed, stressed, and trapped in a cycle of poverty. But Lisa started dedicating 20 minutes each morning to reading about personal development and psychology. She learned about the importance of mindset, the power of visualization, and the science of habit formation. Over 2 years, Lisa used these principles to completely transform her life. She developed better time management skills, improved her relationships, and built the confidence to pursue better opportunities. She eventually landed a job in healthcare administration and is now pursuing her bachelor's degree online. The knowledge she gained about her own mind became the foundation for every other positive change in her life. Pillar 4. Industry and Market Intelligence. Reading the landscape. The I. Fourth pillar is understanding the broader economic and social trends that shape opportunities in America. The most successful Americans aren't just skilled, they're skilled in areas where demand is growing. They don't just work hard, they work in industries and markets that are expanding. Think about the dot-com boom of the late 1990s. The people who became wealthy weren't necessarily the smartest or most talented. They were the ones who recognized early that the internet would transform commerce and position themselves accordingly. The same pattern repeated with social media, mobile apps, cryptocurrency, and now artificial intelligence. Let me tell you about Kevin, a blue-collar worker from Ohio who was laid off from his manufacturing job in 2015. Instead of just looking for another similar job, Kevin spent time researching which industries were growing. He discovered that healthcare was booming due to an aging baby boomer population. He also learned that there was a shortage of skilled technicians in medical equipment maintenance. Kevin enrolled in a 6-month certification program to become a biomedical equipment technician. He spent his evenings learning about the healthcare industry, reading trade publications, and networking with professionals in the field. Today, Kevin makes more money than he ever did in manufacturing, has job security in a growing field, and has opportunities for advancement that didn't exist in his old industry. This is market intelligence in action, understanding where the economy is heading and positioning yourself accordingly. In America, this kind of foresight can be the difference between struggling and thriving. Here's what you need to stay informed about. Demographic trends. America is aging, becoming more diverse and urbanizing. These trends create specific opportunities and challenges. Technological disruption. Which jobs are being automated? Which new jobs are being created? Which skills are becoming more valuable? Global economic shifts. How do changes in trade, immigration, and international relations affect opportunities in America? Industry analysis. Which sectors are growing? Which are declining? Where is investment capital flowing? Sarah, a recent college graduate from Texas, provides a perfect example. Instead of just applying for any marketing job, she researched which industries had the highest growth potential. She discovered that healthcare marketing was exploding due to increased competition among healthcare providers and the shift toward consumer-directed healthcare. She focused her job search on healthcare marketing roles and quickly landed a position with a fast-growing medical practice group. Within 2 years, she was promoted to marketing director. The key is to combine this market intelligence with your personal interests and strengths. You don't need to chase every trend, but you do need to understand the landscape so you can make informed decisions about your career and investments. Chapter 3. The Daily Education System. That works now that you understand what to learn. Let's talk about how to learn it. The biggest mistake people make is trying to overhaul their entire life at once. They decide to read for 3 hours a day, take 5 online courses simultaneously, and completely transform themselves in a month. This approach almost always fails because it's unsustainable. Instead, I want to share with you the system that has worked for thousands of Americans who have transformed their lives through daily education. I call it the 1% better system, based on the principle that small, consistent improvements compound into extraordinary results over time. The Morning Foundation, 20 minutes. Start your day with 20 minutes of foundation learning. This should be content that builds your core knowledge in one of the 4 pillars we discussed. The key is consistency, not intensity. It's better to read for 20 minutes every day than to read for 3 hours once a week. Jennifer, a working mother from Denver, wakes up 20 minutes earlier than her family to read personal finance books. She makes her coffee, sits in her favorite chair, and reads while the house is quiet. Over 2 years, she's read over 30 books on money management and investing. This daily habit helped her pay off $15,000 in credit card debt and start investing for her children's college education. Choose one area to focus on for 90 days at a time. If you're struggling financially, focus on money management books and podcasts. If you need new skills, focus on learning materials for your chosen skill. The key is depth, not breadth. It's better to become an expert in one area than to be superficial in many areas. The commute classroom, 30 minutes. The average American spends 54 minutes per day commuting. Instead of listening to music or talk radio, use this time for audio learning. Podcasts, audiobooks, and educational YouTube videos can turn your commute into a mobile university. Mike, a construction supervisor from Florida, turned his 45-minute commute into his daily education time. He started listening to business and leadership podcasts. Over 3 years, he absorbed hundreds of hours of content about project management, team leadership, and business operations. This knowledge helped him start his own construction company, which now employs 12 people and generates over $2 million in annual revenue. The beauty of audio learning is that it's passive. You can absorb knowledge while doing something you have to do anyway. Create a playlist of educational content and make learning part of your daily routine. The evening reflection, 10 minutes. End each day with 10 minutes of reflection and planning. Write down one thing you learned that day and one way you plan to apply it. This simple practice helps consolidate your learning and ensures that knowledge becomes action. Lisa, a customer service representative from North Carolina, keeps a learning journal by her bed. Every night, she writes down the most important concept she learned that day and sets an intention for how she'll use it. This habit helped her recognize patterns in her learning and identify opportunities to apply her knowledge at work. Over 18 months, her insights and initiative led to 3 promotions and a 60% salary increase. This reflection time also helps you identify gaps in your knowledge and plan your learning for the next day. It creates a continuous loop of learning, reflecting and applying that accelerates your growth. The Weekend Deep Dive, 60 minutes. Once a week, spend an hour going deeper on a topic that interests you. This might be watching a detailed tutorial, reading a research paper, or working on a practical project that applies what you've learned during the week. Carlos, an accountant from California, spends every Saturday morning learning about real estate investing. He watches YouTube videos, reads industry blogs, and analyzes market reports. After a year of weekend deep dives, he bought his first rental property. 2 years later, he owns 3 properties that generate enough passive income to cover his mortgage. He still works as an accountant, but real estate has become his path to financial freedom. The Weekend Deep Dive allows you to explore topics more thoroughly and start taking action on what you've learned. It's where knowledge begins to transform into results. Chapter 4. The American Success Stories. You need to know, let me share some powerful success stories of ordinary Americans who transform their lives through daily education. These aren't celebrities or trust fund babies. They're regular people who decided to take control of their education, and consequently, their destiny, the small-town transformation. Tom's story. Tom grew up in a small farming town in Iowa where opportunities seemed limited. After high school, he worked at the local grain elevator, making $12 an hour and seeing no path forward. Most of his friends had either left town for college or resigned themselves to a life of limited options. Tom chose a different path. He started spending 1 hour each evening learning about digital marketing through free YouTube videos and online courses. He learned about search engine optimization, social media advertising, and email marketing. Within 6 months, he was helping local businesses improve their online presence for small fees. Tom's first client was the town's only restaurant, which had been struggling since a new highway bypassed their main street. He created a Facebook page for them, optimized their Google listing, and set up a simple email marketing system. Within 3 months, the restaurant saw a 30% increase in customers. Word spread quickly in a small town. Soon, Tom was managing digital marketing for the local hardware store, auto repair shop, and real estate agency. He quit his job at the grain elevator and started his own digital marketing agency. Today, Tom works with over 50 small businesses across rural Iowa and Nebraska, making more money than the town's bank president while helping his community thrive in the digital age. Tom's story illustrates a crucial point. You don't need to move to Silicon Valley or New York to benefit from the digital economy. Daily education and relevant skills can create opportunities anywhere in America. The second career success. Patricia's journey. Patricia was a school secretary in suburban Detroit for 22 years. At age 45, budget cuts eliminated her position, and she found herself unemployed with limited prospects. Many women in her situation might have felt defeated. But Patricia saw it as an opportunity to finally pursue something she'd always been interested in: nutrition and wellness. She started by reading one health and nutrition book per month while collecting unemployment benefits. She learned about functional nutrition, the connection between diet and chronic disease, and the growing wellness industry in America. She discovered that health coaching was an emerging field with growing demand but relatively low barriers to entry. Patricia enrolled in a health coaching certification program, which she paid for by working part-time at a local grocery store. But her real education came from her daily learning habit. She read research papers, listened to podcasts with leading nutritionists, and studied the business side of health coaching. After earning her certification, Patricia started her practice slowly, working with friends and family members. She documented her clients' success stories and gradually built a reputation in her community. She learned digital marketing to reach more people and studied business development to grow her practice. Today, 6 years after losing her job, Patricia runs a thriving health coaching practice with over 200 clients. She's written 2 books on nutrition for busy families and speaks at conferences across the Midwest. She makes 3 times what she made as a school secretary and has the satisfaction of helping people transform their health and lives. Patricia's story demonstrates that it's never too late to reinvent yourself through education. The key is combining learning with action and persistence. The side hustle success. David's double life. David worked as a software engineer for a tech company in Austin, Texas. He had a good salary and job security, but he felt creatively stifled and wanted more control over his income. Instead of quitting his job impulsively, David decided to educate himself about entrepreneurship while maintaining his financial stability. Every morning from 5:30 to 6:30 a.m., before getting ready for work, David studied online business and marketing. He read books like The Lean Startup and Expert Secrets, watched entrepreneurship podcasts, and studied successful online businesses. David noticed that many software engineers struggled with the business side of freelancing. They could code but didn't know how to find clients, set prices, or manage projects. He saw an opportunity to bridge this gap. He started a blog sharing business advice specifically for freelance developers. He wrote about pricing strategies, client communication, and project management. His daily learning habit gave him a steady stream of valuable content to share. The blog grew slowly but consistently. After 8 months, David launched a course teaching freelance developers how to build sustainable consulting businesses. His first launch generated $15,000 in revenue. His second launch brought in $45,000. David continued his day job for 2 more years while building his online education business. His daily learning evolved to include online course creation, email marketing, and customer psychology. When his online business was consistently generating more than his salary, he transitioned to entrepreneurship full-time. Today, David's business generates over $500,000 annually, helping hundreds of developers build successful consulting practices. He works from wherever he wants and has the freedom and income he dreamed of. But it all started with 1 hour of daily learning while keeping his day job. David's approach illustrates a smart strategy for many Americans. Use daily education to build something on the side while maintaining your primary income. Then transition when you've proven the concept and built sufficient income. Chapter 5. Overcoming the obstacles that stop. Most people, despite the clear benefits of daily education, most people struggle to maintain this habit. Let me address the common obstacles and show you how successful people overcome them. Obstacle 1. I don't have time. This is the most common excuse, and I understand why people feel this way. Between work, family obligations, commuting, and basic life maintenance, many Americans feel like they barely have time to breathe, let alone learn. But here's the reality. You have the same 24 hours as Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey, and every other successful person in America. The difference isn't in the time you have, it's in how you choose to use it. Consider Rachel, a single mother working 2 jobs in Phoenix. She felt like she had no time for anything beyond survival. But when she tracked her time for a week, she discovered she was spending 90 minutes per day scrolling through social media, usually in small chunks throughout the day. She replaced that scrolling time with learning time and transformed her life. The truth is, most Americans waste hours every day on activities that don't improve their lives. The average American watches over 4 hours of television per day and spends over 2 hours on social media. That's 6 hours of potential learning time that most people give away to entertainment and distraction. You don't need to eliminate all entertainment from your life, but if you replace just 1 hour of passive consumption with active learning, you'd absorb 365 hours of educational content per year. That's equivalent to 9 full work weeks of learning, enough to master a new skill or completely transform an area of your life. Start small. Replace your morning social media scroll with reading. Listen to educational podcasts instead of music during your commute. Use commercial breaks during TV shows to review what you learned that day. Small changes in how you use existing time can create substantial learning opportunities. Obstacle 2. I don't know where to start. Information overwhelm is real. With millions of books, courses, podcasts, and videos available, many people feel paralyzed by choice. They spend more time looking for the perfect learning resource than actually learning. Here's a simple framework to get started. Begin with one book in your chosen area of focus. Read it completely before moving to the next resource. Don't worry about finding the best book. Worry about finishing the first book. If you're focusing on financial education, start with Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki or The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. If you're interested in business skills, begin with The Lean Startup by Eric Ries or Good to Great by Jim Collins. If you want to develop leadership skills, start with The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. The key is action over analysis. A good book completed is infinitely better than the perfect book never started. As you build the habit of daily learning, you'll develop better judgment about which resources are most valuable for your goals. Obstacle 3. I'm not smart enough. Many Americans have been conditioned to believe that learning is only for smart people or that intelligence is fixed. This limiting belief keeps countless people from pursuing the education that could transform their lives. But modern neuroscience has proven that intelligence is not fixed. It's malleable. Your brain has the ability to form new neural pathways throughout your entire life. This phenomenon, called neuroplasticity, means you can literally become smarter through learning and practice. Consider the story of Barbara, a high school dropout from rural Arkansas who always believed she wasn't book smart. At age 35, after years of low-paying jobs, she decided to educate herself about personal finance because she was tired of living paycheck to paycheck. Barbara started with the simplest resources she could find, basic budgeting videos on YouTube and beginner personal finance books from her local library. She read slowly, took notes, and didn't worry about understanding everything immediately. She just committed to learning something every day. Over time, Barbara's financial knowledge grew. She learned about debt elimination, emergency funds, and investing. More importantly, she gained confidence in her ability to learn. She went on to study real estate investing and eventually built a portfolio of rental properties that provides her with financial freedom. Barbara's transformation wasn't due to hidden intelligence. It was due to consistent effort and the willingness to start where she was. Intelligence isn't about how much you know. It's about your willingness to learn. Obstacle 4. I can't afford it. Many people assume that quality education requires expensive courses, degrees, or certifications. While formal education can be valuable, some of the most successful self-educated Americans built their knowledge using free or low-cost resources. We live in the greatest era of free education in human history. YouTube University has taught more practical skills to more people than most traditional universities. Podcasts provide access to the world's top experts for free. Libraries offer unlimited access to books, audiobooks, and online databases. Michael, a construction worker from Ohio, built a six-figure online business using only free resources. He learned digital marketing through YouTube videos, studied business strategy through library books, and mastered social media advertising through free courses offered by Facebook and Google. His total educational investment was less than $200 over 2 years, but it generated over $100,000 in additional income. Even if you choose to invest in paid courses or books, the cost is minimal compared to the potential return. A $20 book that teaches you a skill worth an extra $5,000 per year provides a 25,000% return on investment. A $200 course that helps you start a side business generating $1,000 per month provides a 6,000% annual return. The question isn't whether you can afford to educate yourself, it's whether you can afford not to. Chapter 6. Building Your Personal Learning System Success. In daily education requires more than just motivation. It requires a system. Here's how to build a sustainable learning system that works with your lifestyle and keeps you motivated long term. Create your learning environment. Your environment shapes your behavior. If you want to read more, make books visible and accessible. If you want to listen to educational podcasts, keep them queued up on your phone. If you want to watch educational videos, organize your YouTube subscriptions to prioritize learning content. Jennifer, a busy executive from Dallas, transformed her bathroom into a micro-library. She keeps business and personal development books on a small shelf next to her bathroom mirror. She reads for a few minutes every morning while getting ready and every evening before bed. This simple environmental change helped her read over 40 books per year without adding any extra time to her schedule. Remove barriers to learning and create triggers that remind you to engage with educational content. The easier you make it to learn, the more likely you are to maintain the habit. Track your progress. What gets measured gets managed. Keep a simple log of your daily learning activities. This could be as basic as a notebook where you write down what you learned each day, or as sophisticated as a spreadsheet tracking books read, courses completed, and skills developed. Marcus, an accountant from Seattle, keeps a learning journal where he records 3 things every evening: what he learned that day, how he might apply it, and what he wants to learn tomorrow. This simple practice helps him stay consistent and see his progress over time. Tracking your learning serves 2 purposes. It keeps you accountable to your commitment, and it provides motivation by showing you how much you've accomplished. When you can see that you've read 12 books, completed 3 courses, and developed 2 new skills over 6 months, you'll be motivated to continue. Find your learning community. Learning in isolation is difficult. Find others who share your commitment to growth and education. This could be an online community, a local book club, or even just one accountability partner who checks in on your progress. Sarah, a teacher from Colorado, joined an online community of educators who were developing side businesses. They shared book recommendations, discussed what they were learning, and supported each other through challenges. This community kept Sarah motivated during difficult periods and provided valuable insights that accelerated her learning. If you can't find an existing community, create one. Start a monthly book club focused on your area of interest, or simply find one friend who's also committed to daily learning and check in with each other weekly. Apply what you learn. Knowledge without application is worthless. The most successful self-educated Americans don't just consume information, they implement it. Create systems that force you to apply what you're learning. David, a sales professional from Florida, implemented a Monday application rule. Every Monday, he identified one concept from his weekend learning that he would apply during the upcoming week. He'd write down the concept, how he planned to apply it, and how he'd measure the results. This simple rule transformed David's learning from passive consumption to active implementation. Over 2 years, he applied over 100 new concepts to his sales approach, which led to a 150% increase in his income and 2 promotions. Look for opportunities to teach what you're learning to others. Teaching forces you to organize your thoughts, identify gaps in your understanding, and solidify your knowledge. You could start a blog, create social media content, or simply share insights with colleagues and friends. Chapter 7. The Compound Effect of Daily Learning. The true power of daily education reveals itself over time through the compound effect. Just as compound interest can turn small investments into great wealth, compound learning can turn small daily efforts into extraordinary expertise and opportunities. Let me illustrate this with the story of Amanda, an administrative assistant from Ohio who started her daily learning journey 5 years ago. Amanda felt stuck in her career with limited opportunities for advancement. She decided to dedicate 45 minutes each morning to learning digital marketing skills. Year 1. Amanda learned the basics of social media marketing, email marketing, and content creation. She started managing social media for a few local businesses as side projects, earning an extra $500 per month. Year 2. Building on her foundation, Amanda learned about search engine optimization, Google Ads, and analytics. Her side business grew to $2,000 per month, and she was managing marketing for 8 local businesses. Year 3. Amanda studied advanced marketing automation, customer psychology, and business strategy. She launched her own marketing course for small business owners, which generated $15,000 in its first launch. Year 4. With deep expertise in digital marketing and growing business experience, Amanda started a marketing agency. She hired 2 part-time contractors and focused on higher-value clients. Her annual revenue reached $120,000 year 5. Amanda's agency now employs 5 people and serves clients across multiple states. She's recognized as a marketing expert in her industry, speaks at conferences, and has built a business worth over $500,000 annually. Notice how Amanda's learning compounded. Each year built on the previous year's knowledge, creating exponentially greater results. The skills she learned in year 1 made year 2's learning more effective. The experience from years 1 and 2 made year 3's advanced concepts easier to understand and implement. This compound effect happens in every area of daily education. Financial knowledge compounds. Understanding basic budgeting makes investing concepts easier to grasp. Investment knowledge makes advanced strategies like tax optimization and estate planning more accessible. Each level of financial education builds on the previous level, creating a foundation for wealth building that becomes more powerful over time. Consider Robert, a police officer from Texas who started learning about personal finance at age 30. He began with basic budgeting and debt elimination. By year 2, he understood investing principles and started contributing to index funds. Year 3 brought knowledge of tax-advantaged accounts and real estate investing. By year 5, Robert had built a diversified investment portfolio and purchased his first rental property. At age 40, his net worth had grown from negative $15,000 to over $300,000, and he was on track to retire early with financial independence. Skill development compounds. Basic skills make advanced skills easier to learn. Learning one programming language makes the second language faster to master. Understanding basic sales principles makes advanced persuasion techniques more intuitive. Each skill you develop makes the next skill easier to acquire. Relationship and communication skills. Compound. Learning to listen better improves all your relationships, which creates more opportunities. Better communication skills help in every area of life, from career advancement to family harmony. As your emotional intelligence grows, you become more effective in leadership roles and collaborative efforts. Industry knowledge compounds. Understanding your industry deeply makes it easier to spot trends and opportunities. This knowledge positions you for promotions, helps you make better career decisions, and enables you to see business opportunities others miss. The compound effect explains why some people seem to accelerate their success over time, while others plateau. It's not that successful people work harder in their later years, it's that their knowledge and skills compound to create exponentially greater results from the same effort. Chapter. For the digital age advantage, we live in an unprecedented time for self-education. The internet has democratized access to knowledge in ways that would have seemed impossible just 20 years ago. Americans today have access to educational resources that surpass what was available to the wealthiest people in previous generations. Consider this. You can take courses from Harvard, Stanford, and MIT for free through platforms like edX and Coursera. You can learn from the world's top experts through their books, podcasts, and YouTube channels. You can access the collective knowledge of humanity through search engines and online libraries. But with this abundance comes a new challenge: information overload and distraction. The same technology that provides unlimited learning opportunities also provides unlimited entertainment and distraction. Success in the digital age requires not just access to information, but the discipline to focus on valuable learning over mindless consumption. Leveraging technology for learning smart. Americans are using technology strategically to accelerate their education. Smartphone universities. Your smartphone can become a portable university. Download educational podcasts, audiobooks, and learning apps. Use idle time, waiting in line, exercising, commuting, for learning instead of social media scrolling. Jessica, a real estate agent from California, transformed her daily routine by replacing social media apps with educational ones. She downloaded audiobook apps, subscribed to industry podcasts, and used learning platforms like Blinkist for book summaries. These small changes added over 2 hours of learning to her day without requiring any schedule changes. AI-powered learning. Artificial intelligence tools can personalize your learning experience. ChatGPT can create custom study plans, explain complex concepts in simple terms, and provide practice questions on any topic. AI can serve as your personal tutor, available 24/7 to help with questions and provide explanations. Online communities. Digital platforms have created learning communities that transcend geographic boundaries. You can connect with other learners, find mentors, and share insights with people around the world who share your interests and goals. Micro-learning platforms. Apps like Duolingo, Khan Academy, and Skillshare break complex subjects into small, digestible lessons that fit into busy schedules. These platforms use gamification and spaced repetition to make learning more effective and engaging. The danger of digital distraction. However, technology is a double-edged sword. The average American now spends over 7 hours per day looking at screens, much of it on entertainment and social media. The same device that could educate you can also distract and drain your mental energy. Successful self-educators develop digital discipline. They use technology intentionally rather than mindlessly. They create boundaries around entertainment and social media consumption to protect time and mental energy for learning. Mark, an engineer from North Carolina, recognized that his smartphone was hindering his learning goals. He removed all social media apps from his phone and replaced them with educational apps. He set his phone to Do Not Disturb mode during his morning learning time. These simple changes helped him read 50 books in 1 year and develop new skills that led to a promotion and $15,000 salary increase. Chapter 9. Career Transformation Stories. Daily Education. Doesn't just build wealth, it can completely transform your career trajectory. In today's rapidly changing economy, the most valuable workers are those who continuously update their skills and knowledge. From factory worker to software developer, Mike's journey. Mike worked at an automotive plant in Michigan for 15 years. When automation began replacing workers, Mike saw the writing on the wall. Instead of waiting to be laid off, he started learning programming for 2 hours every evening after his factory shift. Mike began with free resources like Codecademy and Free Code Camp. He learned HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. After 6 months, he built his first simple websites. After 1 year, he was comfortable with front-end development and started learning back-end technologies. The transition wasn't easy. Mike was tired after long factory shifts, and programming concepts were initially challenging. But he treated learning like a second job, showing up consistently regardless of how he felt. After 18 months of daily learning, Mike had built a portfolio of projects and felt ready to make the career transition. He applied for junior developer positions, emphasizing his strong work ethic and dedication to learning over formal computer science credentials. Mike landed his first programming job at a salary 40% higher than his factory wages. More importantly, he entered a field with abundant growth opportunities. 3 years later, he's a senior developer making twice what he earned in manufacturing, with the ability to work remotely and continuous opportunities for advancement. Mike's story illustrates several important principles. You don't need formal credentials if you can. Demonstrate real skills. Consistency matters more than intensity and skill. Development career transitions are possible. At any age, with dedicated learning, growing industries offer better, long-term prospects than declining ones from waitress to marketing director. Lisa's Rise Lisa worked as a waitress at a chain restaurant in Florida, earning about $25,000 per year including tips. She enjoyed interacting with customers but felt frustrated by the lack of advancement opportunities and inconsistent income. Lisa noticed that successful restaurants had strong social media presence and online reviews. She became curious about digital marketing and started learning during her breaks and days off. She began by managing social media for her own restaurant, with permission from management. She learned about content creation, customer engagement, and online reputation management. The restaurant's social media following grew from 500 to 5,000 in 6 months, and customer feedback improved noticeably. Other local restaurants noticed the improvements and asked Lisa to help with their social media. She started freelancing on weekends, charging modest fees while building experience and testimonials. As her marketing knowledge grew, Lisa learned about email marketing, search engine optimization, and online advertising. She took online courses in Google Ads and Facebook advertising, becoming certified in both platforms. Within 2 years, Lisa's freelance marketing income exceeded her restaurant earnings. She transitioned to marketing full-time, eventually landing a position as marketing coordinator at a hospitality company. Her combination of customer service experience and digital marketing skills made her valuable in the hospitality industry. She understood both the customer experience and the marketing technologies needed to attract customers. Today, 5 years after starting her learning journey, Lisa is the marketing director for a resort chain, earning over $75,000 annually with excellent benefits. She manages a team of 5 and oversees marketing budgets exceeding $2 million. Lisa's transformation demonstrates how daily education can help you leverage existing experience while developing new skills. She didn't abandon her customer service background. She enhanced it with marketing expertise, creating a unique and valuable skill combination. Chapter 10. Creating Your Legacy Through Education Daily. Education isn't just about personal success. It's about creating a legacy that extends beyond your own life. When you commit to lifelong learning, you model behavior that influences your family, community, and future generations. The ripple effect of learning. Consider the story of Maria, a first-generation immigrant from Mexico who settled in Texas with limited English and no formal education beyond elementary school. Despite working multiple jobs to support her family, Maria committed to learning English and basic business skills for 30 minutes each evening. Over 5 years, Maria's daily education habit transformed not just her life, but her entire family's trajectory, personal impact. Maria learned English fluency, basic accounting and customer service skills. She progressed from cleaning offices to managing a small restaurant to eventually opening her own catering business. Family impact. Maria's children saw her studying every night and adopted similar habits. All 3 of her children excelled in school, with 2 earning college scholarships and 1 starting his own business while still in high school. Community impact. Maria's catering business employed 12 people from her community, providing job opportunities and training. She became a mentor for other immigrant women wanting to start businesses. Generational impact. Maria's grandchildren are growing up in a family culture that values education and entrepreneurship. The wealth and stability she created through daily learning will benefit her family for generations. Maria's commitment to daily education created a legacy that extends far beyond her individual success. This is the true power of lifelong learning. It doesn't just change your life, it changes the lives of everyone around you. Teaching others. What you learn, one of the most powerful ways to solidify your own learning while creating a positive impact, is to teach others. When you share knowledge, you benefit in multiple ways. Teaching forces you to organize and deepen your understanding. Explaining concepts to others reveals gaps in your knowledge. Helping others learn creates goodwill and networking opportunities. Teaching establishes you as an expert in your field. David, a mechanic from Ohio who learned digital marketing skills, started a YouTube channel sharing marketing tips specifically for blue-collar service businesses. His videos helped hundreds of small business owners improve their marketing, while establishing David as an expert consultant who now earns more from marketing consulting than from mechanical work. Building learning communities successful. Self-educators often become catalysts for learning in their communities. They start book clubs, organize skill-sharing groups, or create informal mentorship relationships. Patricia, the health coach from Detroit we discussed earlier, started a monthly Lunch and Learn meetup for women interested in health and wellness. What began as a small group of friends has grown into a community of over 200 women who support each other's health and business goals. These communities create multiple benefits: accountability and motivation for continued learning, networking opportunities that lead to business and career advancement, skill sharing that accelerates everyone's progress, social connections that enrich life beyond professional development. Conclusion: your education, your future. As we reach the end of this journey together, I want you to understand something profound. Everything we've discussed, every story, every strategy, every principle comes down to one simple choice you must make today. You can continue living the way you've been living, hoping that external circumstances will change your life. You can wait for the perfect job to appear, the ideal opportunity to present itself, or the right person to discover your potential. You can keep consuming entertainment, scrolling through social media, and watching other people build the lives you dream of having, or you can make a different choice. You can decide that your education, your growth, your development, your transformation is entirely your responsibility. You can commit to becoming the architect of your own future through the simple but powerful habit of daily learning. The American Dream, reimagined. The American dream isn't dead, it's evolved. It no longer belongs to those who simply work hard or follow traditional paths. The new American dream belongs to those who learn hard, adapt quickly, and never stop growing. In today's economy, job security comes not from loyalty to a single employer, but from continuously developing valuable skills. Financial security comes not from a steady paycheck, but from multiple income streams and smart investing. Personal fulfillment comes not from external validation, but from the confidence that comes with competence and the freedom that comes with options. Daily education gives you all of these things. It makes you valuable in any economy, resilient in any crisis, and capable of creating opportunities where others see only obstacles. Your next chapter starts now. I've shared stories of ordinary Americans who transformed their lives through daily education. Now it's time for you to become one of those stories. The question isn't whether you're smart enough, young enough, or have enough time. The question is whether you're ready to take responsibility for your own growth and future. Here's what I want you to do right now, before you close this video or move on to the next distraction. Step 1. Choose your focus area. Based on everything we've discussed, what's the one area where additional knowledge would have the biggest impact on your life? Financial literacy? A new skill? Industry knowledge? Mindset development? Choose one area and commit to it for the next 90 days. Step 2. Identify your first resource. What book will you read? What podcast will you subscribe to? What course will you take? Don't spend hours researching the perfect resource. Choose something good and get started. Step 3. Schedule your learning time. Look at your daily schedule and identify when you'll dedicate time to learning. Will it be the first 30 minutes of your morning? Your commute time? Your lunch break? Be specific and write it down. Step 4. Tell someone about your commitment. Share your learning goal with a friend, family member, or colleague who will hold you accountable. Better yet, find someone who will join you on this journey. Step 5. Start tomorrow. Not next Monday, not next month, not when you have more time. Tomorrow morning, begin your daily education habit. The compound effect awaits you. Remember, we're not talking about overnight transformation. We're talking about the compound effect of small, consistent improvements over time. In 1 year, if you commit to just 30 minutes of daily learning, you'll have absorbed over 180 hours of educational content. That's equivalent to 4.5 full-time work weeks of learning. In 5 years, you'll have over 900 hours of learning, more than most people accumulate in their entire career. You'll have read hundreds of books, learned multiple skills, and developed expertise that makes you valuable and sought after. But the compound effect goes beyond just accumulating knowledge. Each day of learning builds confidence. Each new skill creates opportunities. Each insight changes how you see problems and solutions. The person you become through 5 years of daily education will be virtually unrecognizable from who you are today. A personal message. Before you go, I want to share something personal. Every story I've told you in this video represents real people who made the same choice you're facing right now. They weren't born with special advantages. They didn't have perfect circumstances. They just decided that their future was too important to leave to chance. Some of them started their learning journey deeply in debt, working multiple jobs, supporting families, and feeling overwhelmed by responsibilities. Others were comfortable but unfulfilled, successful but not satisfied. What they all had in common was a moment of decision, a moment when they chose growth over comfort, learning over entertainment, and their future over their present circumstances. Today is your moment of decision. The information age has given you unprecedented access to knowledge. The internet has democratized learning in ways previous generations couldn't imagine. The tools, resources, and opportunities are all there waiting for you. The only question that remains is, what will you do with these advantages? Your legacy starts today. Finally, remember that your commitment to daily education creates a legacy that extends far beyond your own life. When you model lifelong learning, you inspire your children, friends, and colleagues to do the same. When you share what you learn, you multiply the impact of your education. When you apply your knowledge to solve problems and create value, you make the world a little bit better. The Americans who built this country into the land of opportunity weren't the smartest or the most talented people in the world. They were the people willing to learn, adapt, and persist in the face of challenges. They were the people who took responsibility for their own education and growth. Now it's your turn to join that tradition. Your future is waiting, and it's going to be built one day of learning at a time. Thank you for joining me on the Fluent Storybook. If this message resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to our channel for more stories that transform lives, and remember, your story of transformation starts with your next choice. The question isn't whether daily education works. The question is, will you work at it? Your future self is counting on the decision you make today. Make them proud.